Hi guys, pontoon boat season again. Let's get this thing ready to go on the lake. Step one in this little project today is to get things back to the condition they were in when we put the boat away in the fall. We got to get the back battery installed and we need to get the front battery put back in. Additionally, we're going to add in a NOCO Genius battery charger maintainer. We'll mount this in underneath the console here, and we'll put a port outside so that we can plug it in directly. This one's set up so that it conceivably could run two items. I'm only going to be using one of the plug-ins. We could use it to plug something else in, I don't know, some accessory, electric cooler or something like that. Keep things cold while we have access to shore power. Anyways, let me get you guys set up and we'll start sticking some of this stuff together. The first electrical accessory that we need to hook back up is the washdown pump. I see that we had a little bit of a emergency removal, or well, I don't know if we call it an emergency, but quick removal when I took it out in the fall. Didn't end up putting a quick connect on there. So we'll do that this spring. That was always my intention. The screws, put the pump down in place. This was stored in my back porch so that it didn't freeze over the winter. Pump is mounted. These pieces of foam are end caps off of the winter rack that I have up over top. And I think probably this tote is as good a place as any to store them. We'll put that in there. I've got a nice O-ring sealed connector that I want to put on these, but I'm going to have to dig that up. So we'll get that in a little while. Our rear battery box, it is attached solidly to the floor. We'll set the good starting battery in there. Fills that box up quite nicely. I don't want to hook things up quite yet. We want to make sure that all of our connectors are separated here, but nothing shorted out, because this battery is connected directly to the battery that goes under the steering console, and I don't want anything to short out on us. So next step, let's get the front battery put in place, and then we can start connecting things up. Now the front battery goes in on this tray mounted solidly to the floor that we have in here. Solidly, yeah, it's mounted to the bottom of the console and to the floor. Everything is color coded here. Bright colors go to positive and dark colors go to negative. So we have our positive and our negative, positive and negative, and then we have our constant power for the stereo goes on positive. I don't imagine you guys can actually see any of that, but that's what I'm doing. Now before I put those nuts back on, let's crack open this thing and get its wiring harness attached. Nice tiny little unit. Perfect for charging. I'll have to get a wrench for the back nuts there and some tie wraps to mount this one. Now that I've got the battery most of the way hooked up, we'll still have to snug up that negative lead. We should have enough power. Here we have the charge port, nicely sealed up. Plug in a single extension cord into that, and then it will come through and charge up to two items. Let me figure out how big of a hole we need to drill in the side of that console, and I'll see if I have a hole saw that'll do the job. The back side of that is pretty well perfectly 2 inches, and I have a 2-inch hole saw. The next size up that I have is 2.5, which is not going to allow the screws to bite in anything. I'm hoping that this 2-inch hole saw will work. There's some wires kind of come down right here, so if I come just a little bit forward of center on the console, right about there's a good height. That should be just about perfect. Back that off, so use the clutch in case it grabs. And 2-inch is absolutely perfect. Let me grab the screws and the impact gun, we'll get that screwed down. I think these screws are designed to go through aluminum. They got the kind of the drill tip on them. Going through this plastic should be a piece of cake. Everything lined up relatively straight. There's our shore power 120 volt inlet. Now we need to finish up at the other end. This is the back of our shore power port. I haven't got it plugged in outside yet, so we can just plug this in here. And I think we're going to tie wrap it up to the white wires that are running up along the edge there, just so that if there's ever any water that pools in the bottom of the console here, the plugs aren't going to be laying in it. Plus that puts the spare outlet just basically right dead center where it's easy to get at. Next we'll tie wrap the charger up kind of in the same spot. I don't know whether you guys can see that or not. Let me move the camera around. Give these tie wraps a little trim, and now we should be basically ready to put some power to this thing. We're showing 12.4 volts on the little display here. I don't know whether that shows up for you guys or not. And now I got the plug. We plug it in, and we're still showing 12.4 volts. I'll give it a minute. This is only a 2 amp charger. The light is on the charging unit. Which suggests to me that we are charging. And now we've got 12.5 volts. I think we'll call that a success. Well guys, I think we're going to end this one here. That worked out basically as good as I was hoping it was going to. And one more step to getting this thing ready to go in the water. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Appreciate it. Appreciate if you give me a thumb up and maybe a subscribe. Ring that bell icon, and we'll catch you in the next mess.